Hey guys, it's your girl, the Duchess. And I mean, honestly, if you're not already on Anchor, what are you doing with your life? This is the new wave, and this is where your podcast could be. It's easy, it's simple, it's on the go. Record your audio and reach the masses. There might be somebody driving on a road trip that needs to hear you right now. Get on Anchor right now. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's the best podcast, best way to go. Right now. Like, right now. Question again.
Oh shit! What was the question? Okay. So we can talk about the quote. Let's just bring up the quote. Okay. So, because I know you're gonna have to do whatever introduction and stuff, but all right. So what's the quote? The quote says, "Oversharing is how you leak energy. Privacy is protection." Shout out to Led by Source. That's all I got for where that's from. That's probably an Instagram or something. Want to give
Oh
credit
yeah,
where
I do
credit's
see
due.
it. I see that at the bottom.
I try to give credit, with
Facts.
it's okay. We don't know people like that.
We'll
But,
make that the flyer.
Yeah, like that's the person created this graphic on Instagram, right? Like how people be doing the quotes, and so that's what inspired this conversation. And so the question is like, what is oversharing, right? That's what we were just talking about. Like, what is oversharing?
Right, because when I first hear oversharing, I automatically think like, it just became such a nasty word for me now because it's like
Why?
you should be able to share, like as long as you're sharing in a healthy way in a safe space and not like, then any form of sharing should be deemed as healthy. So when I first read the quote, I was thinking, okay, wait, let's reread the whole quote.
Yeah, reread it. And we can even tell, like, for the people listening, like, this is a conversation we just started off, like, off, what do you even say? Like, off air?
Off the top.
Off the top.
Off
and then we're bringing it, and then we just were like, let's bring it here, and let's really have this conversation. And one of the things we said off air was, what do I call you? We didn't talk about this.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Should I say Duchess?
We could be in our Royce form. Lee is fine.
Yeah, because you were that's why I call her everybody. That's how I know her in our personal relationship. So she was saying, like you just said, like it's triggering, right? And so let's read it again and let's talk about that because I felt like what you said, honestly, other people probably feel that and have experienced what you've experienced and what I've experienced with you.
Right. So if it's saying oversharing is how you leak energy and privacy is protection. So like it's automatically like you see that and you say, all right, if you say too much, you talk too much, that's leaking your energy, you should be more private. Just like once I was excited to read the 48 Laws of Power and then you read it and it's like so militant. And one of the laws is, to remain mysterious. It's always say less than necessary. Like that becomes a tactic almost. So I guess that's why.
Like manipulative, controlling. Because we know that book is not.
Right.
Written in love.
Right. So it's not made in love. So it becomes a tactic, like a manipulative tactic. And then once you start believing like oversharing is draining your energy, you think you have to keep anything and everything to yourself. And sometimes sharing is helping. So that's how, we started going back and forth on the quote because it's like some people should keep things to themselves. It's a discernment because certain things you want to keep to yourself or for certain people. But for other people, it's like keeping it in is not helpful. And some people are made to share to help people, I think is what I'm trying to say.
I feel you, and that's when I asked you. I was like, well, then would that even be oversharing?
Right.
I think you said that beautifully. That's exactly what it is. Because I think like it goes back to, we've been around people who gaslight, right? Like come bringing up that word again, which is like make you feel like you're crazy or make you feel like what you're experiencing there's something wrong with it. I think like we have an expanded definition of that word. I think it's anything that's like kind of like manipulative. I don't know if you'd agree with that because I feel like when I think about our conversation, it's just us. Like
I'm still learning that word, and that's why I like every time Like someone
Yeah.
says, oh, that's gaslighting, because I never realized so many things was a form of gaslighting.
Fact. Yeah, that's real, and I think it goes back to that though, because I think that's what you're saying. Like, I'm hearing like the oversharing is like like people manipulating you by saying you're oversharing when you're not. It's people like who are using that to make you feel some type of way. Is that accurate?
Yes.
For me to say that.
Yes, it's like dimming our little light. I feel like
Yes.
when people
Or
make you
exactly.
feel, like when people make you feel bad about like waking up and telling you how great their day was, or if you're telling them how bad your day was, like, I'm someone that, wants to be positive all the time. I would hope to live a positive lifestyle all day, every day. But if someone comes up to me to tell me that their grandmother passed away, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, you're oversharing and that's so negative. Like, I don't need that negativity. Like, you know what I mean? There's always space to let people share, in my opinion. So
And
I
be
guess,
where they're at.
yeah. So it's like, what is oversharing?
Yeah. I think what we've gotten out of oversharing is like I think I like the word I love when you said discernment. I think it's about discernment, and like we were even saying before we even got on this, like I keep going back to that because that's how we got here. Like it's like we said some gems there, and I was like, wait a minute, we should do like we're both like we need to do this on this,
Right.
So let the people know. What did you say? I just lost it because I was laughing at myself.
Discernment with the sharing.
Okay, you said discernment, and you were saying like, like me and you are gonna have insiders. You're gonna have insiders with certain people because you have a different level of relationship, and so of course that wouldn't be for everybody because that's discernment. That's there's certain things for you with certain people, certain groups, certain spaces.
Yep.
That it makes sense like to have like a deeper level where it's safe, where it's where it's able to be held. Like I think that goes back to you saying discernment. Like I feel like discernment encompasses that kind of thinking. And then it's like I also was saying that like hold on, I'm drinking coffee now and I'm getting mad excited.
Yes, coffee.
That, like we're doing this.
I'm like I'll put on another
people can hear us.
I'll put on another pot of coffee right now.
Yo, do it. Coffee club. Coffee time. This is coffee time. All right. But, yeah, I'll leave it there. I don't know. What else? What do you think? Like,
and I think the context of the sentence is so important because oversharing on a regular day is like, we're not going to go into somebody's parents' house and start talking about our sex lives or something like that. That's different oversharing than this sentence. This sentence specifically, sparked the conversation because it says how you leak energy. And I don't want people to constantly, and if anything, I feel like you've been a help with getting this in my head too, is that nobody can leak your energy. And if they do for the day, you can recharge yourself. Like my form of leaking energy is like, okay, I read cards and I might be drained for the day, but I'm not going to ever feel like I have to protect my gift of reading cards because I'm drained for a day or two. You recharge.
I feel that. Oh, that's a whole other conversation, though.
Right.
I feel that, and I don't think you've ever said that to me like that, so I don't think I've ever responded to that.
Okay. And I only say because when it said... Okay, because like leaking energy, like I know it happens, but I just don't want it to feel like a bad thing.
Okay, yes, I think, okay, so, should I respond to this? Okay,
go off, sis,
so
that's what we hear, Newest Testament.
All right, so Newest Testament. So now we're going to go into the energetics of things, okay? And so what I think is the difference here, and I'm going to say this, so like, and I'm just learning this too, so I'm not like no expert, but I am somebody who, and you know this, we talk about this is like one of the tenets of our relationship, of our friendship, our sisterhood is like, everything is energy, right? So one of the things I've been coming across, and this is actually something I'm learning right now, and I'll put this to you and see what you think about it, it's like there are, yes, there's nothing wrong. Like there is and isn't something wrong. Like what is wrong and what is right. I would prefer that my energy not be leaked. I'll speak for myself, not be leaked, but that I learn to, if I'm channeling energy for people into like gifts and stuff like that, to learn how to channel directly from source, so that I'm not using my own personal energy. Because like I was learning this, like we have personal energy, and then we have energy, we have access to like the infinite like source, like what we can run depending on how our systems run, how we are, what's safe for us, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You have access to energy and stuff. So when we say energy leak, I guess like it's like, what energy are we leaking? And for me, it's like I personally would not rather leak my personal energy. I would like those boundaries to be up. But is it leaking the energy that I'm supposed to be channeling for source? Then that's not even a leak.
Right. Then what is the over? That all goes back. You're right. You're 100% right. It goes back to what is oversharing.
Yeah, and then it goes back to like what you're describing is would then not be considered oversharing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing your gifts, but it's people misusing and trying to dim your light, saying, "Oh, you're oversharing," because wherever they're at is how they're projecting on you. That's oversharing.
Right. So then, okay, so how do we feel about privacy being protection? I feel like it's just how it's worded that, like, freaked me out.
Yeah, that's real. I feel like we're literally working through an actual trigger, like, in front of people right now, to be 100 with you.
And it's helping me focus on the sentence.
I like that. And I think it's valuable, and I think it's courageous, because people can't, like, I think that's for people, it's like modeling, like, look, like, this is what we do. Like, this is what we do by ourselves when we talk to ourselves. This is what we do with friendships, when we help mirror to each other what's going down and how it's going down. So, yeah, I definitely, so privacy. You asked me a question, privacy. Okay, so privacy, I think, is, it's the difference between, this is interesting. This is another thing I got this from. But it was like saying the difference between secrecy and privacy, which honestly is something I've had to learn as a coach, because this all relates to like kind of codependency and boundaries, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not oversharing if I'm able to, if my boundary is okay and your boundary is okay and we're both in a safe place to hold that. Right.
And in my head, that's exactly, I was thinking it's privacy if it's, depending on if it's helpful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's in a sense of privacy is protection. Like, of course, you're like, in that sense, you don't want to overshare if people are going to, like you said, use it, be able to use it against you, or have that to be able to hurt you in whichever way they're, thinking of it. But you wouldn't be sharing that. Then I guess that wouldn't be, See, now it's stumbling my brain now, because it goes back to what oversharing is, and if it's helpful.
Okay, so we have to define that. So I think let's try to channel a definition for oversharing. I wish I had like a notebook and pen right. Oh, actually, I wish I had a notebook and pen. I got a paper and a pen right in front of me. Okay.
Because when you say privacy is protection, then it goes to then you would be oversharing something that you think is private. So then it's something that I guess I'm what's on the fresh tip of my brain is because we've been hearing so much things about us using our stories and things we've been through to talk and help people.
Yes.
So if we thought about privacy like being protection, we would just keep all of this to ourselves and never be able to help anybody. We wouldn't even be recording this right now.
No, but it's different. It's different, though, because we're being called to record this. We're being called to share it. So if we're being called to come out of it being, like, it was private all the way up until the moment you were called to share it, and now it's safe to be shared because you're being led to share it. I don't know, like, why that came. I don't know if that
No, that's true, because it's definitely sense. Discernment then. It boils down to discernment and the fine line of oversharing, because it's true. We'll record this, But if we recorded every single conversation, we would just be oversharing all of the juicy ups and downs and the great goodies.
No, but that's private though. Like,
right.
No, it's not, but that's private between us. It's like, I think you said it perfect. And I think privacy is like the things, like, I said this, remember, I was like, I think like there's a certain level of like, of truth to like your relationship with God to a degree, and your guy is like, and the source is private. Like, there are things that are just for you and God. There are things just for you and God.
Right.
Like that and I was telling you, like, I don't need to know about, you don't need to know, like, there are things that we may not ever tell each other. That's just things for you. Just, there are things that are just for you. How long they're just for you, that's between you and God. Sometimes you do get called once it's cultivated and safe, or whatever the circumstances, things that, because I don't know, we don't know all the answers.
It's
knows,
true.
You know?
That's 100% true. I think my not worry, but concern with this sentence was it saying it needs to be protection. Like you can never feel safe. That's what it is. When I see the word protection.
Word protection was triggering.
Yeah, the word protection makes me feel like it. Like, I don't ever want people to think that it's not safe to speak up, or it's not safe to just speak up in any sense, because they might need to speak up. So it's like oversharing. If the wrong person reads that, they would never speak up and might need help. I think that's my worry is.
And I think that's really real. But I think by the same token, what you were saying is like, when you do speak up, be discerning of who you speak up to.
Yeah.
Like, okay, for example, like, when I first, like, okay, I'm going to bring it to this. I'm going to try to give examples. Because I think, like, what is happening, and I think what's been helpful is we've been talking a lot about the theory of it and, like, working through the sentence. And I think maybe, like, when you gave an example, it really helped me. So I'm like, okay, this example is coming to mind. Like, for those people, if we're talking to that specific person who's supposed to be speaking up. So, okay, when I first figured out, I was like, you know, going through my gender stuff, like figuring out, like, you know, like I was like, you know, might be not identified as a woman and didn't know how to deal with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I needed to speak up, but it was not something for me to go and tell everybody to, because I wasn't even really sure yet of like what was going on. So I needed a safe space. So I went to a therapist. And then I started only speaking up about that to my therapist for as long as I needed to work through it, to get to the truth of it. And then once I understood for myself what was really happening, then I started to speak up and tell people in circles. Like, I've heard that, like, sometimes when you're first telling a story that's really close to you that you haven't told before, sometimes you don't go straight to the book like some other people are called to, right? And that was something else that you brought up to me.
No, this is a perfect example, because that privacy was protection for you, and it was good discernment to pick the therapist, because had you just said that to anybody, they could have made you feel an incorrect way, like wrong or guilty or questionable. So in that sense, that was perfect discernment. That's a perfect example.
Yeah. Oh, I love you. Yeah. So like that. And then I spoke up to people around me. And, you know, it was weird for me. My family was the last to know. It was easier to tell, like, my friends before I could tell my family and build up that courage. And then I told my family, you know, when I, like, went through all of that. So, like, I don't know. I for other people, it might be different. And it could be with anything. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, with your gender identity. You know what I'm saying? It could be, like, anything, like the stories, like, because you know how you say that you're feeling called to stories and to share what you've been through in your relationships and different stuff you've experienced in your life. And it made me think of, like, okay, yeah, it's okay to speak. Of course, it's perfect to speak up, but I think if you share it in a book or share it in the perfect way that God's calling you to share it, that's going to be different than if you just go around just telling people this story. Right.
Because then if you just say it in a certain way, then you can have media attack and people attack you a certain way.
You know, it's like how you put it out too.
Right. Ooh, that's another thing. Oversharing could go down. as far as how you share it.
Yes.
Because just blurting it out, spewing it out in an angry way, let's say you're oversharing your feelings on something, it could come across really crazy to someone who's not on the same wavelength as you, or even if you're not in the right place. Like, if I was oversharing 5 years ago about a topic, I'm sure I wouldn't have the same feelings I do now.
Yeah.
So it's a discernment, too, of how you overshare and what state of mind you're in when you're sharing.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, right?
my God.
Yeah. I think that's what it is.
I love this. I love you.
I love you too. This is like a very, I just felt your mind. I just saw the emoji in my third eye of the mind blown. I just saw mind blown. Mind blown.
I love, like, when I was saying breaking down the sentence, because I personally have the problem of going off the rail and off topic. So if we were saying oversharing is leaking energy in one sense, without reading the second sentence, you know what I mean? So I like that we broke it down exactly how it is.
Yeah. No, I do too. I really do too. I think this was a very needed conversation because, to be honest, like, I've experienced the same things you were talking about, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would get triggered with privacy. Like, I would think that, I remember, like, I had to learn that with my current person. Like, that's another thing. Like, I don't talk about my relationship, right? That's a new thing for me because I used to be very open about who I was with, how the dynamics of the relationship. I would tell everybody anything. Like, it was everywhere, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I had to learn, like, I thought it was secrecy, but I learned that in a codependency, like, my family has codependent dynamics, which is a whole nother conversation whenever we get there. I know that's something you said you wanted to talk about, so people can look forward to however you get to that conversation for the people. Like, but it's like that I had to learn that when you're in codependent dynamics, you think that being private is secrets. It's deceptive. It's lying to people because you're always there's no boundaries. Because if you're oversharing, there's no boundaries. Somebody's not practicing boundaries if it's oversharing. That's a good part of the definition. Somebody's not practicing. Whether the person sharing is not practicing boundaries,
or the other person.
Yep.
Right.
Or the other person is not practicing boundaries and telling them, hey, I can't hold space for that. Hey, I that's not for me. Like, whatever it is, like, I'm not emotionally there. I can't handle that. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I don't know if I'm the person you should be telling that to. Like, just real talk, like, out of respect. Like, maybe you should go find, like, I don't know how that conversation would go. I would imagine all of that's uncomfortable. But being honest is uncomfortable. And sometimes being uncomfortable is love, as long as you're not doing it with malice. Like, you're being true, you know?
Right. You're being true to how you feel about the situation.
Yeah, so it's on both people. It takes both people to create an oversharing experience.
And I've been single for so long that I feel like getting into a relationship, like, I'm all about privacy because I've seen both ends. I've seen, like, a real public relationship. I've been in, like, a semi-public relationship and then a private relationship, and I've seen the ups to privacy and people doing it. But now I'm worried that my fear is people jinxing it. So, like...
Yeah, and that's real.
Right. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock.
Ooh, divine order.
Yes.
This feels so good doing this.
It
like,
does.
I just want to say that. This feels really fucking good.
I'm like one of those memes. I love you too. I'm like one of those memes right now where they're on their phone dangling their legs when the conversation's so good. You're just, like, pacing around your house.
I love it. I love it.
But it's like relationships now are such a thing. Like, I'm even scared to overshare that.
Yes, and it's so funny you say that because for me, it's like it brings up oversharing in the relationship was my problem. Like, I overshared, like, outside too. Like, I was just honestly, like, I'll be 100 everybody. Like, I had no fucking boundaries. Like, I grew up in a way where, like, I thought I would justify oversharing and think it was okay. So I think that's why I'm so okay with, like, saying privacy is better now, because it's taken me so long to recognize, like, energetically, that's not okay. Energetically, that's like sliming somebody if you don't check in with somebody.
Right.
You know?
What I learned this year in my own personal dating life is that I think, like, and it goes back to discernment. I think that what I've learned too from you as well is that there is no right or wrong answer. There could be like multiple answers on spectrums. But I definitely feel that what I got this year was that the reason why I felt like I would overshare in relationships, or maybe I was talking too much or thinking too much about certain topics was only if the other person had a problem with doing that. Like it's only magnified by how much you don't do that. I'm only oversharing because you don't share. I'm only thinking too deep because you're not thinking about the shit at all.
Yeah, facts. And then, oh my God, and that's not even. I don't even know. That's like a whole different thing.
Right,
like,
we're gonna have to have another episode.
That's a whole other relationship conversation. I'm sure we're getting into that. And like, just to like, put this here, like, I was doing that in my relationships. Like, that's exactly what you're saying. And like, and I had to realize, like, like that was oversharing, and when the person, and sometimes when it's, I don't know if those are healthy or not healthy. I'm not even gonna like, that's to me like almost like an assessment. I'm not trying to like pass judgment or nothing. Like, it's like I'm even checking myself as I'm talking. Like, it's like, for me, I'll say for me, it was like I would want to tell them everything about like my past. And like feel like they needed to know like everything that's ever happened to me, everything I ever did with anybody, and my whole love history. And I was so obsessed with that. And I was like, why? And I had to really sit with myself and realize, that's oversharing, especially if the person had told me I don't need to know that information. Why do you need to tell me? So I had to really work through that, because some people want to know, some people don't want to know. So if they don't want to know and they clearly tell you that, it's like, why did I need to do all that? And honestly, that's therapy.
Yes.
I have to give it to my therapist.
I'm going to have to say, as much as I plan on working with the masculine male energy, that to me is another mirror reflection, deflection on men. And I think that, yes, again, I'm going to do the cop out to discernment, but you're not wrong, because in relationships, that's the end goal. The end goal, the end game is to have somebody that you can share all of that with. But I agree that I do feel too like men is what make me feel like I overshare, because there's been times where I want and expect and think that that's what normal relationships should be like, and you tell them everything, but you get the bad eggs sometimes that use it against you, use it to manipulate you. Or the corny ones that say shit like that. I don't need to know that. And that's not fair, I think, to like, all right, we didn't know that in those times, in those relationships, because we treated every relationship like they were the one. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that is how relationships should be. In a perfect world, we should be able to overshare with our soulmate, or the one that we're going to be with at the end of the day.
But then it's not oversharing.
Facts.
Like, you feel me?
We're just talking with our innocent, pure hearts. We're just sharing.
and it's safe, and it's open. And you know what came up when you said that too? The timing. Like the timing of when you tell them, how you tell them. Like, you were like, like, I like how you picked up on the like how. I think also the when.
Yeah.
Like how you deliver it and when. When is the perfect time? And I think the timing, like, I would be like, I need to tell you all of this the first fucking date, like a psychopath. Like, not that anybody's a psycho or anything. Like, sorry, that's just a me thing, how I unfortunately talk to myself. But like, like, it's like, that wasn't okay for me. I realized when I really sat down and was like, because you're right, you should be able to share. And even like, I had to realize I really wanted to tell them the lessons I learned, not so much the details, and that's what was important to me. But it was like the timing, and is the person able and willing and ready to hold space in that moment that you want to tell them.
Right.
So I think that was amazing. Wow. I just saw butterflies.
That was. We just took that full circle.
That was crazy. I like how we brought it back to relationships. Like, I mean, I don't know, but do you want to go back to the quote? That feels really good. How are you feeling? Like,
yeah.
What do you think? What's coming up?
I love it. I'm like, yeah, I'm all in this shit. Definitely, because that's how you go to see that it could go in different ways and different things with friendships, with relationships, with oversharing just in general, and it not being helpful. But like, regardless of how people overshare, I think it should be taught to not make people feel weird about sharing anything.
No, and I agree. But it goes with what you said, and I don't think it's a cop-out. I think it's an important, that's a whole conversation. I think it's important. Discernment is key.
And that's feelings. That's, again, with teaching people to go on how they feel. Everyone goes with what they think.
Feelings mean.
And if your feeling tells you shouldn't be opening up about that or at that time yet, or you're not ready, don't ever make people push that out of you. So that's a whole nother conversation too. That about
is another conversation. Nobody has access to your truth or is entitled to access to your truth.
Mm-hmm.
That is the opposite. It's like the entitlement and the oversharing. I feel like are on the same spectrum. Ooh, you hit that. Yes, I just saw it and felt it. That is exactly the same energy on the opposite side.
This one's going up on YouTube too.
Okay. Whatever.
This is going on Google Play, Spotify.
Take a cute picture. That's all I have. Or use the thing. I mean, honestly, you got it. Your media prowess is unmatched.
The Newest Testament. This is definitely a word.
I'm honored. Thank you for having me on the Newest Testament.
Yes.
I can't even do your herd, Craig.
This was an impromptu.
I'm in Florida, fam. I'm in Florida. I'm in Orlando.
In Orlando with the beautiful weather. This is impromptu. This is unrehearsed, real life. This is how we live our life. These are the conversations that we have.
For real. Thanks. It felt good to have everybody a part of it, though. Like, I felt like they were here in spirit with us. Like, I feel y'all listening.
Yeah, and it was like different parts. Everybody could relate on different parts of it, and relationships too. And what I want to go back to too with discerning and telling people things is the older you get, you'll see people's different reactions, and that'll teach you discernment to who can handle it. Because I'm sure, one guy, I could say the same thing to two people. One will say I'm crazy, and the other one will be like, you said that perfectly.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
And you didn't change nothing about what you said, how you said it, nothing.
Yep. And it's just how that person is ready to receive it. So it's always learning what's not on you and what's a other people thing too. I love it. It's true. It's so true. This little light of mine.
Hey. I'm gonna start tapping on the table. Can y'all hear?
Oh, what is it?
Yo, we heard the call.
Oh my God.
That's the thing. Beautiful.
What a blessed full moon eclipse.
Honestly, I hope everybody's doing okay. Y'all are gonna be okay, whatever's happening. I don't know, that dream, oh wow, I feel called to say that on here. No, I'm not going to say on here. We could do another conversation, however you want to say it. You can give that word. Because I had that dream, like, people are going through crisis. And if you are, you're going to be okay.
Right, write down your dreams.
You're going to be okay.
Write down your dreams. Ooh, see, we just talked about this. It's a discernment on the details that we want to share. Because we were just speaking on this. So it's discernment on what she wants to share about the dream. But the lesson of the dream is to pay attention to your dreams, write the dreams. Full moon dreams are in full effect. Eclipse season started. There's going to be more dreams, more clues. It's like Blue's Clues.
It is. Without the creepy guy who got
without the creepy guy and without the creepy guy in the fucking notepad, dog. Like, oh my God.
I love it. All right. Well, I guess that's that. Okay, you told everybody where to find it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can cut all this. I'm going to be quiet now. I don't know how to end things or start things. That's all you.
Okay.
I love you, Duchess. I love you.
Yes.
Everybody follow Duchess. Oh, I want everybody to let them know, let you know, DM you, hit you up, YouTube comment. Wherever you find this, no, it was not an accident. If you're still here with us, we rocking with you too. Let Duchess know, I let divine intervention know, like, what resonated, what was the most important piece of this. Like, did you get anything from this, and what was it? I want to know, and let her know, because she'll tell me.
We definitely share a brain, because there was a point where you said something and I was gonna be like, comment below with your ideas, or anytime that you have, comment about any dreams that you guys may have had. So do all of that. If there was any point in time, just comment, or hit me up, like she said, at the Duchess of Jersey. Hit me up with your ideas, your comments, what you thought about this. This is going to go up on part of the New Testament series. I'm going to just go ahead and put that up there. That's going to be on Apple Music, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor FM. It's on freaking everywhere. And I'm going to find a way to put this on YouTube.
I love it. Appreciation, love, and blessings. Thank
yes.
you so much, Duchess, for everything you
and we love Sister Sabrina for joining us today.